talk about some handling exercises that are specifically beneficial to dogs who are nervous of strangers or vets or groomers. It can be great for vets and groomers, but I found that most dogs that are very wary of strangers or even get overexcited around strangers, maybe they jump and nip your yes in the tush when they come in, a lot of these dogs that get over-aroused or get very fearful and hide away are actually nervous of being touched. And so I found if you teach them that being touched is something that they can do for a reward and that it's not something that's going to be done against their will, most of them will relax and the hyper ones will settle down and the nervous ones will come out from hiding. I'm going to use my dog Junie to demonstrate 3 techniques. One is a chin rest where the dog puts their chin into your hand. Another is a collar grab so you can grab the dog's collar, and the other is head targeting, so the dog's actually going to pet themselves. And what's important for these exercises is that you always go at your dog's pace and that it's more that they're touching you rather than you are touching them. So if your dog at any point is staring at your hand as you move towards them, you need to stop and wait for them to stare back at your treats, and that's when you can proceed. Take nice deep breaths to stay relaxed and to relax your dog. If you're looking at your dog, make sure that you're doing some soft blinking and try to keep your body upright instead of bending over. And you may also want to angle your body away from your dog so that you are not being threatening to the dog. Again, take things slowly and make sure that your dog is touching you and that you're not touching them. And very important, don't go, oh, good dog, and pet them on the head afterwards, because then you're undoing all your hard work of letting them touch you. You can instead pet them on the chest or the shoulder, or maybe give them a little rump rub afterwards as a reward. So to start the exercises, if you have a dog that is on the timid side, they may not be this close to you. Junie is really used to working very, very close to me, but I'm going to show you all the steps. So to start off with, you want to make sure that you have treats ready. I am going to be using a clicker to mark the exact moment that she does not move back from my hand. Excuse me. Thank you. So as you can see, she's not worried about her personal space. Come here. Good girl. There we go. So ideally you'd have your dog in a down position or a sit so that they're not going to be moving around so much. And you're just going to move your hand towards your dog. Good, and you're going to click for not moving back. Again, she's not worried about personal space, but if you have a dog that is, you may need to move really, really slowly. You may need to stop right here because you want to click before they move back. And remember, each click is going to get a treat. And be very aware of your body language. Sometimes you need to turn a little bit more to the side from the dog, or I can put her more to the side of me. And again, you're just going to gradually move closer, and she already knows how to do a touch. Junie, touch. Good girl, and that can be really helpful. Touch. Good. To facilitate them getting to your hand. So you want to check out my video on teaching touch. But our next step is I'm going to see if I can actually put my hand lower towards her chin, and it may be helpful to have treats on the other side of your hand. So there we go. That's the behavior we're looking for, but you may not be able to get that. So you may need to start here and click for not moving back. Again, she's going to meet me. You're going to meet me all the way. So I'm going to place my hand here. Good girl. And over time, I'm going to just get her to push her head further. Good. And if she weren't, I would again show those treats so that she would pull her head over my hand. Good girl. And if you're having trouble with your dog pushing their chin down into your hand, which is what you really want, you can actually take the treats in front of your hand and then lower it, and that's going to get her to push down really hard because she's trying to get to that treat. And again, use something that is really enticing to your dog. Now, since she's not afraid of space, I can give her the treat from my hand, but if you have a dog that is a little bit wary about having you get in their face and get up close and personal, what I will actually do is I will click and then throw the treat. So what that looks like is this. Good, find it. So she doesn't have to have the social pressure of taking the treat from my hand that was touching her. So I'll have one treat ready. Ready? Good girl. You are too silly. So again, I'm going to place my hand, she does it, and I toss the treat. So that lets her go and walk away. And this is also a good way for you to tell, is your dog ready for more? As you can see, she's coming back to me, so she wants to keep playing. If your dog decides not to come back and you have a handful of chicken or a pouch full of chicken, you know your dog is a little bit stressed, and so let them take a break. Ideally, what you want to do is practice this just a couple of times and then walk away yourself so that your dog isn't getting tired. Instead of, wait, I was getting chicken for that, can I please have some more? And then you can come back and practice some more. So that's for the chin rest, and eventually you want to do this even more, there we go, even more into your hand, and you can see if you can move your hand. Good girl. And this is going to help them with vet visits, teeth brushing. Good girl. Very nice. Also, if you need to hold their head for doing any medication in their eyes or anything like that. And I'll actually get her used to the hand over my head, and she also knows that one. There we go. And again, this is starting with just making sure that your dog is comfortable with having your hands around their face in all these exercises, but eventually you teach them, good, to put their muzzle in your hand, and this is perfect for brushing their teeth, for vet inspections, and for eye medications, because you can hold their head still. Oh, sorry, that one got stuck in my hand. You want to find it? Good girl. Good girl. Now for dogs that get really excited, you may even want to do this without the clicker, but I'm using it for your sake so you can see when she's earning the reward. You could also just do a yes, which might be a little bit less exciting for dogs that are used to using the clicker for fun stuff like tricks like she does. And also for dogs that are more noise sensitive, or if you're just having trouble managing both hands, you could do it this way as well. Yes. Good girl. Yes. Good girl. So that's the end behavior. And now we're going to work on over the head. Now again, this can be very, very threatening for a dog. So again, I would start off with just seeing if I can hold my hand up high. Yes. And treat for that. Yes. Good girl. We're not waving. Yes. And again, you may have your treat under your hand, which is what I'm doing. I have treats in this hand. Yes. And if she's confident enough to barrel through like that and just grab the treat out of your hand, then you can put your hand lower. Yes. But you don't want to lower your hand while they're under you. You want to make sure that you do that in between takes. Ready? Go find it. And again, you can throw the treat for this one. Yes, find it. And I'll show you with a yes, and I'll show you with a clicker. Yes, find it. It's a little bit harder with a clicker. So again, she has to put her head under my hands. Good. Find it. Good girl. Good. Find it. And over time, my hand's going to get lower and lower. And this may be over the course of several sessions if you have a sensitive dog. And by sessions, I mean about maybe 4 or 5 repetitions. And then that's it. So it may take you a couple days of doing short sessions. But eventually, I'm going to have my hand low enough where she can, there we go, pet herself on the head. And this puts her in the driver's seat when someone's reaching over. Good. So if some stranger goes to pet your dog, instead of freaking out, your dog can go to you and say, hey, look, Mom, I pet myself on the head. Good girl. Very good. Good job. And again, notice I said the dog will go to you for the treat. That's really important. You don't want random strangers giving your dogs treats for running up, because then your dog may run up and the person doesn't have a treat. And they're like, oh, they pet me. What's wrong? Good girl. Good job. So you want them to come to you. But if there's someone your dog does need to become comfortable with, such as a friend or relative, then you could certainly have them be doing the treating as well. Good job. So again, the end behavior is that you can put your hand anywhere. Judy. Good, yes. And they will put their head under your hand. Judy. Yes, good girl. Now again, for all of these exercises, we want your dog to not be backing up when you approach them, so you want to click before they back up. But if they do, you just need to freeze your hand. Or if they stare at your hand that's moving towards them, you need to just pause and wait for them to look back at your treats. Okay, you want to make sure you're not surprising them with your hand approaching, but you don't want to keep moving towards them if you're watching your hand, which I'll demonstrate by putting food in my hand. So if you'll see, she's going to follow my hand. If they're doing that and there's no food in your hand, you need to stop. But if there's no food in my hand, see, she'll check it. Good. There we go. And then she looks away. That's when you can proceed forward. Yes. So right now she thinks we're doing a touch, which is why she's checking out my hand. But if your dog is doing that nervously, then you want to make sure that you pause. So now I'm going to go for the collar grab. You ready? Yes, good girl. So I may start with just touching behind the ear. Good girl. If the dog isn't sure about it, let's see if I can do that on the other side of your head, huh? So I'm going to wait for her to turn her head. There we go. So right now she's just touching my hand, not because she's nervous, but because she thinks it's a touch. Good. So I would just move very slowly, and if she offers me a behavior I don't want, I'm just going to take my hand away. There we go. Good girl. And you're going to work your way to be able to pet the collar and put your fingers through the collar. Good. And this should all be done very slowly, very relaxed. And again, if your dog is sensitive or nervous, find it. You can toss the treat for each one. So it depends on how your dog is, but I found most dogs will do it much longer if they don't enjoy being touched already like Junie does. They will repeat the exercise much more often if you are tossing the treats because it removes the social pressure. Good girl. And eventually you'll practice grabbing the collar from all angles, and you may need to move slower than that. So those are the 3 exercises for getting your dog used to being handled both for grooming and vet visits, but also just to help them be more confident around strangers. Is the chin target. Yes, good girl. The head target. Come on. Junie. Yes, good girl. And the collar grab. Yes, good girl. All right, release. So thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe for more training.